Heads up, this is not my usual content, and honestly I was kind of reluctant to say anything about it at all. At this point, everybody's seen the video from the Ohio police raid. I pulled up as many facts as I actually could, which is really difficult considering this is still considered an ongoing investigation. Ultimately, I don't know anything more than you do, but here are my thoughts. The first thing I'm going to go over is the entry. Now, the police department actually reported that they announced repeatedly. That's true. They did knock loudly, and they did announce themselves repeatedly. Here's the video if you want to see it.
Police search warrant, come to the door! Police search warrant, come to the door! Dogs! Police search warrant!
Now, the problem that I have with this is that they waited about 10 seconds from the time that they first started knocking and announcing to the time that that battering ram struck the door the first time. And most departments say that you have to wait a reasonable amount of time for somebody to answer the door. That's vague for a reason, because a reasonable amount of time, depending on the circumstances, might be different. That being said, I feel like that they used that ram awful quick. In my house, it's going to easily take me 20 to 30 seconds before I can answer the door for someone knocking on it. And it makes me wonder, why didn't you just go for a no-knock in the first place? Now we're going to touch on the second thing. The department said during the tactical operations, 2 diversionary devices, commonly known as flashbangs, were deployed outside the residence. Here's the video to show that that is true. It was deployed outside the residence. However, it was directed towards the window, which caused that window to shatter. Now, up to this point, I don't actually see anything wrong except for maybe a couple tactical errors. But now we get into what I think was probably wrong. In my opinion, somebody dropped the ball. I don't have the file in front of me, so I can't tell you for certain whether or not they actually got the right house. But I am going off the police department's word that they in fact had the right house. The problem is that somebody probably should have been doing surveillance on that house the day before and before this activity even took place. And maybe they did, and maybe somebody just didn't notice. But I feel like that if somebody actually did their due diligence, they would have known that there was a toddler inside the house. Knowing that, they probably wouldn't have used a diversionary tactic on a window that could have shattered. Bear with me, here's the next thing that I noticed. Now, I know the police department at this point is just trying to CYA, but they also said that any allegations suggesting that the child was exposed to chemical agents, lack of medical attention, or negligence is not true. Now, they should have been a little bit more careful when they actually said this. They are correct in the fact that a flashbang doesn't actually have any chemical agents, i.e. tear gas or pepper spray. Based on the fact that they called paramedics to check the baby out, I do believe that they tried to at least get the baby medical attention. What they're not considering is that a flashbang is actually an explosion of magnesium-based chemicals, which cause a very bright flash of light and a loud sound. Here's some evidence to back up that the toddler may in fact have sustained some type of chemical burn from the flashbang. Now, I know this is kind of difficult to actually read, so I'm just going to paraphrase it for you. Now, this is a study that was conducted in 2016 on disorientation devices, or otherwise known as flashbangs. Just like any other grenade, it uses a fuse and explosive powder to activate. In 2015 though, they documented that there were over 50 cases involving serious physical injury or death by use of flashbangs. Many of those injuries included severe burns from them being used in close quarters. Now, to the average person that doesn't have any health issues, this isn't going to cause any severe damage whenever it's deployed outside of a window like it was. However, to a toddler that has pre-existing health issues, very plausible. I also saw somewhere that there was a dog that was killed within this raid, but I haven't seen any actual evidence to back that up. Now, I'm in no way advocating for the police department here. They definitely could have done a lot of things differently and certainly could have done things better. Like I said before, I think somebody dropped the ball on this. But keep in mind, nobody is perfect in this world. We have Catholic priests out there that are taking advantage of little kids. I'm certainly not concerned if a cop is perfect. Ultimately, I do think the department messed up enough to where they're going to end up having to pay this family. But I really hope this child makes a full recovery. I know he was already in rough shape to begin with. Apparently the family has started a GoFundMe page. I have no way of vetting that, so I'm not going to actually post it, but you can search it yourself if you want. Keep in mind, there are a lot of internet scams out there utilizing emotional tactics to get your money. I know this was a really long video and it's not my usual content, but if you enjoyed the information, give me a like, repost, all that good jazz. And if you haven't done so in a while, give me a follow. I'm on pretty much every single social media platform now.